Today on the podcast, we have Wendy Dalpez. Wendy's a career ownership coach, franchise business owner, and award-winning leader with the Entrepreneur Source. So for more than 12 years, she's helped hundreds of professionals explore business ownership as a path to greater income, lifestyle, wealth, and equity. Before becoming a coach, Wendy spent 25 years in the newspaper industry, serving in leadership roles, including director of advertising, publisher, and general manager. She's been recognized as a 2025 Coach of the Year nominee, 2017 Franchisee of the Year, and a 2022 Franchise Business Review Rockstar of the Year for women-owned businesses. Based out of East Wenatchee, Washington, Wendy's also active in our community through Rotary International, and most recently was named a 2026 Influential Woman of Washington. So, Wendy, it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Matt. It's great to be here. It's been great meeting you.
So, Wendy, I'd love to just dive straight into your expertise and your knowledge and just the kind of the person that you are. So there's been a lot of accolades in your life, one of which being the 2025 Coach of the Year and Franchisee of the Year. I can imagine, if you set your mind to something, you're able to accomplish it. And based on our past conversations, like it seems to be a strength that I find in you. My question for you is, the ability to set goals and to reach them is pivotal in the success of anyone. Are there any specific models that you use when deciding what goals to pursue and how you choose to pursue them that's helped you in your career?
Yes, I'm a goal-oriented person for sure. And I think I have to keep my why in front of me all the time, which is definitely my family and my community, and setting a good example for my kids, my grandchildren, and other women, because I think other women can really step into leadership roles and really excel if they give themselves the chance. I think setting goals is just an important part of growth. And I like to set super reach goals because I really want to learn, and you're not learning if you're not uncomfortable. So trying new things and putting myself out there is important to me and something I always want to keep working towards.
Yeah, interesting. I was reading a book recently called The Science of Scaling, and it talks about, it's easier to do 10x than 2x or something like that. And it goes over the science of, if you set a goal for something you want to accomplish in 5 years, if you forced yourself to accomplish that in 6 months or 1 year, how would that change your approach? Can you walk me through a little bit of the super goals that you set, an example of one and how it pushed you to achieve something?
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, I gave myself a huge super goal. I wanted to be in a position to buy a new home that could be multi-generational. We are raising two of our grandchildren. I have an older son that has an illness that needs to be taken care of, and we had frankly grown out of our house. So I wanted to level up in a really big way. With that thought on my mind every day, that was what I was thinking about, is I've got goals I need to reach and people who need my help that I can help, that are going to also help me get there. And so every weekend I was out looking at all these dream homes, and when the right one came our way, I was ready. I had hit that goal. So I'm very proud of that achievement and the opportunity that this gives to leave my children something behind where they all can, fit and be comfortable, and we love it. So I love setting those kinds of goals that, it could have taken me a long time. My goodness, if I was still in corporate, I would have never been able to do this. But setting that goal and saying, I'm giving myself a year. And that's what we did in less than a year. So
That's
I love
amazing.
it. Very happy.
That's amazing. Now, what helped you achieve that goal over the time period? Because you gave yourself 1 year to have enough funds to be able to buy a multi-generational house. That's not an easy task. What did you do to reach that?
I think you have to set out with a plan. And luckily, I have a good coach that helped me really figure out what I needed to do to be able to make that happen. I also didn't want to be a slave to work. So I needed to be smart about it. And I needed to do those activities that were going to put me in the right position to be able to do that. I think a lot of it is positive. You got to be positive. There's no every single day in business isn't going to be the best day, and you just have to take those and realize, well, that just puts me right around the corner from what I'm looking for and what I need to achieve. So I think it's being focused and just having a strong plan and working that plan. That's one of the reasons I love franchising. It's a good plan. And if you work the plan and you're open to coaching, you can achieve whatever you want to. I truly do believe that. There's going to be tough times for sure. There is with any business or any job. But if you stay focused to what your plan is and you work that plan and you're on top of it and you know when you need to tweak something or make a change and you do it, you can get and achieve, I think, what you want to. I've proven it. And I still have big goals and things I want to do in life. So I just keep, achieve one and get to the next one.
Yeah,
You should never be without a goal, is the way I look. You should always have something you're working towards. Keeps you motivated, keeps you interested, and keeps you on top of your game.
absolutely. I'd love to validate this concept with you. I've interviewed at this point, man, it's probably 30 different experts in the franchise world now. And something that I've heard over and over again is that one of the differences between the top performing franchisees and some franchisees that sometimes struggle is their ability to follow the game plan, to follow the the proven methodology that the franchisor has established. It's awesome because now we're flipping the table, and I can ask a top performing franchisee, "Is this true?" Do you find that to be the case? And would you add anything to that?
Absolutely. I think that in the almost 13 years I've been with the Entrepreneur Source, I've seen huge changes. Technology has just changed how we do business. And I am so thankful that they have a system and that they test all this new technology and the training is there and everything I need to be able to be successful. And I know that when I validated with TES and I talked with coaches that were successful, it was apparent they were using the system, and ones that maybe weren't doing as well were veering off the system. So I do think it's really important to use that system. I have enough flexibility to have my coaching voice, but their training, everything they bring to the table. Frankly, if I had to do for myself what they did for me, I'd never get to coach my clients. So it is a very mutually beneficial relationship, and I can't imagine trying to do this on my own without that system in place. It's made all the difference.
Yeah. What helps you be a great leader and executor of like a plan? Like, because that's hard. You can be given a step by step how to, but the franchisor is not in there day in, day out doing it. So what helps you execute day in, day out?
I think definitely having a goal. So I have a goal. That's what I'm working towards. So what do I need to do to get to that goal? I've got a great system in place, but I also make sure that I'm always trying to get better at my coaching so that I am better for my clients. That might be networking groups. It might be working with other coaches. Definitely my franchise has a coach that I work with. I'm part of peer performance groups. I'm always trying to learn. I think what I find with my business is there's always something new to learn, a different way of looking at things. And in order for me to meet people where they're at so that I can be most effective in helping them move whatever direction they need to, I've got to be constantly learning and evolving. And I know that's not my favorite thing. I'm not the most flexible person in the world. So sometimes I just have to sit back and say, Wendy, you're just going to jump into this. You don't know about it, but you're going to be better afterwards. And I can't say that there's ever been a time where I said that wasn't true. It is true. Maybe uncomfortable to change things, but I could just try and look at it. This is going to be fun. I'm going to learn something new, and this is going to help me be better for my clients. And I think that's a big key for people to be successful is let yourself get uncomfortable. You're going to learn something new, and if that can translate better for your clients and help them go the direction they need to, then that's what I need to do for them.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Let me backpedal just a little bit. Because I kind of dove into validating something that I've heard from experts, but I would love to get some original thoughts, I guess, from you as a top performer in various aspects. What are some core principles that have helped you find success in life?
I think that the biggest core principle for me is the whole idea of I want to help people. And I think if I am looking out for people's best interests, whether that's personally or professionally, then I know I'm doing the right thing. As a Rotarian, we live by the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it beneficial to all concerned? And now I'm drawing a blank on all of it, but I try and live my life like that. And I think that really helps. I'm great at connecting people to the resources they need. I'm genuinely curious about everything in the world. So I ask a lot of questions, and that helps me connect people to what they need. I realize I'm not the right resource for everybody, and that's okay, but I want to help them. If they can leave a conversation with me better, what's better in life than to be able to say I helped somebody on their journey? There's just nothing better than that. So I think that's my core principle really is being able to connect people and help them. That's what I want to do. It's why I got into this business, is to help others like someone had helped me.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there's like real science behind that too. I was reading a book called it was by Adam Grant. Oh goodness, I'm forgetting the names. Like the giver's mentality or give and take. I think it might be called give and take. Yeah.
Mhm.
And he was talking about how the most they were th- they were looking at research and saw that some of the most successful people were appropriate givers, meaning their primary mode of action is what can I do to help this person that's in front of me versus negotiating like if I do this, you do this. Or takers that are just constantly finding ways to receive benefit from other people. So I think there's real data behind that. Plus, like I think we were just on this earth to do good. It's just all about the people.
I think it's a ripple effect. You do good for one person, they feel good, they can do good for somebody else. It just brings everybody up. And I think it's the best way to live life. And seeing my children do that now and my grandchildren, uh, you know, because I've dragged them along to all these community things and whatever it is I do, but watching them in life, that's the impact you want to have. That's the impact I want to have. The house is nice, things are nice and everything, but I want to make people's lives better. I want to help them live their best lives. So I hope that's what I do, and that's kinda how I approach things.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to pivot over to Entrepreneur Source. So it was 2025 that you were Entrepreneur's Coach of the Year.
I was
Or,
the nominee. I was the
or
nominee, which was great, and the gentleman who won it is amazing. Just to be in that top group was awesome.
alone is awesome.
Yeah.
But then it was 2017 you were the Franchisee of the Year.
Mhm.
I'm assuming a lot of franchisees look to you for advice and counsel. Oh, here we go. If you had a franchisee sitting in front of you today and was just getting started with Entrepreneur Source, what advice would you give them and why?
Well, couple things. I would tell them work the system. Don't buck the system. There's a reason for it. And as you get more comfortable, you will develop your coaching voice. But the way we go about things is very special. And I think you need to embrace that. I would tell them to be coachable. I've been doing this almost 13 years and I'm seeking out coaching from others. And there's always things to learn. There's always opportunity to get better. And I think you have to remain coachable. The other thing that I would tell people is I'll never forget when I went to training our founder, Terry Powell. First day there, of course, she just made this big decision to quit your job and join this franchise. And he says, "Who has plan B?" And I just remember dropping my head thinking, I have no plan B. What was I thinking? I
Yeah.
quit my job. And he pointed at me and said, "Good, there is no plan B. You put your investment into this business. You are here to learn and you need to work your business." And it's always stayed with me. It means be coachable, show up for training, follow the system, ask for help when you need it. And he was absolutely right. And I've never had a plan B. I got offered a really good position a couple years after I'd been into this, and I had to listen to what they had to say in the newspaper industry. But I was like, there's no way. I'm never going to do that again. I am where I'm supposed to be. And when you make that decision, embrace it and do it, and you'll see success.
Yeah. What have you learned about those that do the opposite? That do have the plan B, or I guess I'd love to just kind of explore the opposite as well, whether there's negative effects or yeah.
I think there is. I don't think that you have to be very careful if you want to be a semi-absentee owner and it doesn't work with the entrepreneur source. You can't be a master of a lot of different things. And our clients deserve your time and your expertise, and that takes time. And so I think it you've seen people that will come in and say, "Oh, I can do it better," or "I'm gonna do this system," or whatever, and they don't generally have the success that others have had because they're bucking the system. And so I say validate upfront, and if you think you can do better or differently on your own, then you should. Don't invest in that franchise. It's probably not a good fit. So stay coachable, follow the guidelines, stay within the guardrails. We like to say, find your coaching voice and put your effort into it because the results can be amazing. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than when a client calls you a year or so down the road and says, Wendy, I hit all my goals and thank you because I would have never found this or done this if you had not, helped lead me this direction. That's awesome. That's just an awesome feeling. But if you buck the system, you're not going to find that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. What principles do you use to develop good relationships in your life? And how has that helped you in your career in particular?
So, I'm a pretty outgoing person and I love to talk with people. I love to talk with people from all walks of life. I think that my work in the community helps me be better for my business. And so I think it's important to be present. I think it's important to be a part of your community and just meeting so many different people. I think is really, really important. I don't like to be part of just a clique or a small group of people. I think we have a lot to learn from one another, and I think diversity makes all the difference. And you've got to get yourself out there and meet different people and see what you learn, what those connections can be. So personally as well as professionally, I think that's a really important part of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we went through our questions very quickly. I guess this is a unique opportunity really to talk to a top performer and just glean insights. You have an audience here today. What are some things that you would want to teach the franchise community, whether this is a franchisee listening or a franchise business coach looking for ways to improve their ability to help others, or a franchisor executive? What advice would you offer our audience?
I think it all is about collaboration with franchises and really, sorry, I should have
Sound
had
good?
that off. I think it's really about making those connections and helping one another. There's so many great franchise businesses out there that do amazing things and taking the time to get to know people to make sure that they're going to fit your organization or that organization is the kind of company culture that you're going to thrive in is really important. That's one of the things I love about the entrepreneur source is the company culture is like nothing I've ever experienced before. And look for that collaboration. Don't be afraid. Talk with people. And if you're not the right resource for them, help them find the resource that they need. I think the franchising community is very unique and that they have this ability to collaborate and they have an ability to change people's lives and really help them and their families excel. And we should be screaming that from the rooftops. I think it's the best thing. I've talked with people. We have a coach in our community that has been a franchise developer before, but he's also owned several other franchises. And every time I talk with him and he tells about all the benefits of being a part of these types of organizations, it just makes you want to, screaming from the rooftop. It's something everybody should know about. I think my newspaper career led me all over the place, and I never met anybody that was a franchise coach before. I never knew that something like this even existed. And I feel like everybody should have a career ownership coach and should at least have the opportunity to learn about what's out there. So I think we need to spread the word. We have a good
Yeah.
thing going, and it could be good for a lot of people.
Yeah. There's something researching lately where I've seen a lot of people that are, I mean, it's just true. Like Meta laid off 10% of their workforce early this year. Amazon, very similar story. Going down the line, there's been a lot of layoffs in the big tech sector, a lot of areas, I think a lot of AI automation and things like that. And for somebody who lives in the franchise world, I just wanted to validate because there's no real good data on this right now online. There's no validation, but this is my hunch. I feel a lot of people are going from these big tech jobs, like a lot of white collar layoffs, and are looking for franchises and looking for owning their own business. I think the only like good data that I had was that when they were interviewing a lot of these white collar workers, how many of them would consider starting their own business is about 44%. And now 10% of these large workforces are getting laid off. So tens of thousands of people are getting laid off and looking for businesses to start, whether it's their own or doing a business through a franchise. Have you seen that to be the case? Have you seen any increase in demand? And if not, also fine. But my hunch is that there has been an increase because of the layoffs, and these people have skills and they have money and are wanting to kind of move into the franchise world.
Yeah, I think a lot of them have been through, the Great Recession of 2008, and then they somehow squeaked by through COVID, and they're like, "I'm not doing this again." And so definitely are a lot of people. You've got AI eating up some jobs, or at least changing. So maybe their skill set doesn't match exactly what might be available to them. I think I read this week in Washington State is only second to California in amount of tech layoffs. You mentioned
Wow.
Meta and Amazon. And, a lot of those people have managed people. They've got a great skill set. Franchising offers them a really great business model where they can use their skill set and they are the owner, president of their company versus, a worker, and they have more control over their day to day and everything else. I am amazed at how many people are in their 50s and 60s that still want to work another 10, 15, 20 years. They're just not ready to retire, but they were a low-hanging fruit to be laid off because they were so close to retirement age. And
Mm.
so there's a lot of those people that, they're just not ready to retire and not because of financial reasons. They just still want to work.
Do
They
something.
want something to do. So franchising offers them a lot of opportunities and a good system that they don't have to start from scratch and figure out.
Yeah. Have you seen an increase or has it maintained similar demand?
I think I'm definitely talking to a lot more people. There's still some fear and uncertainty because there's so many crazy things going on in our world right now. But I think a lot of people realize there's always crazy things going on in the world. This is no different than, any of those other times. But how you react to it is what's gonna, push you ahead. And I have a lot of people that, are looking at that right now. And a lot of people that, frankly, they're just unfulfilled. And they're at a point where, like I was, 13 years ago, I wasn't gonna get much further in my career. I wasn't gonna make a huge increase in, money. And yet I had a lot of things I still wanted to do for my family. So this gave me that opportunity to have an open-ended financial gain from this business and where I was going to be capped forever where I was. So a lot of people are looking at that as well. I remember when my coach said to me, Wendy, other people trust you to run their multi-million dollar companies. When are you going to trust yourself? That light bulb went off and I went, you're right. And I called her right after that and said, okay, tell me about what you do. I think I want to be an entrepreneur source coach. And I've never looked back. It was the best thing I could have done. I know how I work. I know what my strengths and what my weaknesses are. And this system took care of those things I don't like to do so that I could do what I love to do, which is talk with people all day long.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. Well, Wendy, is there anything else that you want to leave our audience with today?
I think that for a potential somebody who's going through a career transition, somebody who's been laid off or they're unhappy or they've been a victim of restructuring, this is a great time for you to take a look at your goals. They're different than when you started your career 10, 20, 30 years ago and really explore what's out there. Maybe it is another W-2 job. Maybe there's a franchise out there that might be a good fit for you, or maybe it's a startup business. I love connecting people to the resources they need, not always me. And I work really hard to make sure I've got resources for everybody for everything. So I think it's a good time for people to explore what's out there. There's some exciting things. Businesses that start during tough times usually have lasting power and do better. And so it's a great time. You have nothing to lose by conversations. And I say, get out there and have those conversations and figure out what's best for you.
It's awesome. I think building the strong roots, the trees that have the strongest roots are in the environments where the wind is the strongest and pushes them around a little bit.
Right.
And yeah, that's an amazing opportunity to be able to come in and start something for yourself and build something real. So that's amazing. Wendy, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it too. And we will chat soon.